Hey everybody, it is Chuck with BMAC again, and it's time for another Chuck Chat. And I've got to be honest with you, as we get ready to kick off college fair season, we've got to go back to the basics. It's for anybody that is getting into the job market, that might be getting back out into interviewing, and if you haven't done it in a long time, or if you have been going on a lot of interviews, a refresher is needed for a lot of people. We're going to talk about three very important things. The very first one is come prepared. Now you may be wondering, well, come prepared, what does that mean? It could mean a ton of things. Yes, let me just give you a couple very easy basics. Come with a resume, something to write with, and something to write on. No joke. A resume, something to write with, and something to write on. You've got to be prepared either to ask questions, to take notes. It shows interest. It shows that you care about what you're listening to. When you are going into a job interview, take some notes, have something to write with. Be prepared, bring a resume. I gotta be honest with you, there are several times I've had printer issues here. Somebody comes in and I don't want them to sit, I don't want them to delay. So I'll either have to wait, have somebody, we make it work, but in the end, if you bring a copy, there's no need. So very simple, very easy, it is basic. Honestly, very basic, but important. Number two, ask questions. Be prepared to ask questions. I've noticed a lot, I'll say, all right, it's your turn. Let's volley back and forth. Now it's your turn to interview me, ask some questions. And I'll get oftentimes, okay, and you can tell when somebody starts to think they haven't prepared, and like, well, why do you like it here? Now, I kind of can understand that question, and I'm not going to invalidate that question, but the first question should be about the role. The first question should be about something that you've thought of. Anything. It shows interest. If you say to somebody after you've talked to them for a little while, well, what questions do you have? And I got nothing. It doesn't show that you have a whole lot of vested interest into getting into that role. So again, pretty simple, but number two, ask questions. And finally, number three, be convinced this is a role that you want. What I mean by that is, don't appear that as if you're willing to take any job that's handed to you. Know the job description. Have an idea of what it is. I understand that there's a period of time under which some people are, under pressure just to find anything. But I promise you, if you go into an interview, even one that you think, oh, well, this could be good, it might work out. If you show that you're desperate, chances are it is not going to work out. Take a look at the resume, go through all of the skill sets, tie your interest, why you want to do this, but be convinced and convince yourself first. Because if you can't convince yourself, you're never going to convince me. So work on convincing yourself that this is something that you want to do, and then be able to convince the interviewer by saying, this is why I want this position. And not, well, I wasn't sure. I just wanted to come here and find out more about it. We could have done that and saved a lot of time. You can look at a job description 9 times out of 10 and tell whether or not it's something that you want to do. So while this process can be stressful, can take a long time, and it's never fun for oftentimes for the interviewee, understand that if you just go to the basics, the chances of you ultimately getting into the position that you're looking for, whether it's under stress or pressure, or whether it's something you're really targeted and something that you dream of doing, they're much greater if you just follow those simple basics. So going back to the basics is what it's about here in this edition of Chuck Chat. Remember, come prepared. Bring a resume, bring a pen, and something to write on. Number two, ask questions. And number three, maybe the most important of the three, is be convinced and convince yourself before you sit down that this is exactly something you're looking forward to and something that you want to do. We always got a bunch of positions available at BMAC. We're growing. Our new office in St. Pete is off the ground. Need a lot of great sales, even locally here in Pittsburgh, down in Houston. Always, if we ever see you out and about, and if we see you during this year's college season, make sure if you talk to me or my recruiter, Taylor Genry, you join the swarm.